At Electrifying, we like saving money, and the fact that electric cars are less expensive to run than their petrol or diesel counterparts is just one of the many reasons we love them. But at the moment, electric cars do cost more than the petrol or diesel equivalent to buy, and that can put people off. There are loads of different ways you can save with an electric car, and you do need to make sure you take full advantage of them all. Let us explain. If you take the amount that you pay for the car, add to that the running and the maintenance costs, and that's equal to the total cost of ownership.
Now, not that many people will turn up to buy a car with a loaded checkbook or a bag full of cash these days. Most of us will actually buy our car on some sort of lease or finance, right?
100%. And because electric cars tend to lose less value than the petrol or diesel counterparts, they have what's known as a greater residual value. So they may actually work out less expensive in the long run than you might think. I guess what you need to do is turn things on the head. Think about what your car is worth when you sell it, rather than focus too much on the price you're paying for it right now.
That is exactly right. And then the government grants for low emissions vehicles, which is basically electric cars. Now, currently, they stand at £1,500 off the cost of a new electric car, as long as that electric car costs under £32,000. Also, it's worth checking with whomever you're buying the car from, because some manufacturers are actually throwing in a free home wall box, and that is worth having.
If you've got a medium-sized petrol or diesel car, then you'll be used to pouring a fairly large amount of money into it each week and not really thinking about it.
But with an electric car, you'll never need to visit a petrol station again, unless you have a desperate need for chocolate, and that's a definite advantage.
Charge at home overnight and it would cost around £2, and that'll take you 150 miles or more. Now, even if you pay the UK average price for electricity, you'll pay about a quarter of the amount that you're used to spending down at the petrol station. Use a tariff from a supplier like Octopus Energy, and not only will you be filling up with more environmentally friendly juice, you'll also be able to use off-peak charging rates to bring the cost down substantially.
And even if you haven't got a home charger, then public charging stations still offer serious savings.
Now, they might seem complicated, but electric cars are actually really simple to maintain. So you've got no exhaust pipe, no clutch, no engine oil, far fewer moving parts. In addition, the brakes aren't worked as hard because the energy from slowing down is recycled back into its battery.
Yeah, and it does mean you spend quite a lot less on servicing, with costs around half of what you'd pay for the average diesel. Also, some electric car vehicle service plans are less than £100 a year.
Now, insurance is the thing that's changing really quickly. As with any new technology, when electric cars first came out, insurers were a little wary about them because they didn't know how easy they would be to fix if they had an accident.
Also, because electric cars are quite speedy, they had half an eye on whether they'd be involved in actually more accidents than a normal car.
But now we've had a number of years to assess everything. Electric cars are actually at no more risk than a petrol or a diesel car of having an accident.
So where insurance was a little bit more expensive for electric cars in the beginning, now they're at about the same level. And in fact, in some cases, would you believe, they're even cheaper.
Probably not if you're behind the wheel.
That's very true.
Because of the way the UK government is currently incentivising businesses to get on board with electric cars, there are some seriously cost-effective ways of owning one.
Electric company cars attract a benefit in kind rate of just 2%, saving you thousands every year compared to the equivalent petrol or diesel. It also means you can lease an electric car through a salary sacrifice scheme and have the money taken out of your pre-tax pay packet. That's going to mean a saving of at least 20% on the payment.
Now, that is not to be sniffed at, and it's why you'll see lots of people with electric cars on company car schemes. It's definitely worth asking about.
The road tax on an electric car is free, which is going to be quite a change if you're used to paying a substantial amount for your petrol or diesel car. And many towns and cities, like here in London, already have incentives in place for electric cars. Things like free or cheaper parking and exemption from tolls. Many more towns and cities across the UK are going to follow London soon by starting to restrict entry to certain areas for polluting cars in order to protect air quality.
There is, however, a catch. When you throw into the mix list price, it turns out that only small or medium-sized electric vehicles actually show a real proper benefit in total cost of ownership. If you're buying a large luxury SUV privately, then the advantages and benefits are definitely not as obvious.
However, if you can get one through your company and take advantage of all the current incentives, pretty much all electric cars are cheaper to own over a period of time than their petrol or diesel equivalents, which means that an electric car's total cost of ownership is generally lower than its petrol or diesel counterpart. That's maths, and you can't argue with the numbers, unless of course this one's coming up with them.
Oi!